Welcome to another exciting episode of Howard's Opinion. I'm your host, Howard, and I'm thrilled to have you all tuning in today. We've got a fantastic show lined up for you, packed with the latest updates and insights from the world of sports. As we dive into today's topics, let's start with some thrilling news from the NFL. The upcoming season is shaping up to be one of the most competitive in recent years, with several teams making significant moves to bolster their rosters. One of the most interesting developments has been the emergence of powerhouse duos at the wide receiver position. We're seeing talented tandems like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle in Miami, Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams in Detroit, and A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith in Philadelphia. These dynamic duos are poised to take the league by storm, leaving defenses scrambling to keep up. And let's not forget about the Bengals' formidable pair of Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins, who are looking to dominate opposing teams once again. But what really caught my attention was the Eagles' victory in Super Bowl LIX, which was fueled in part by the impressive performance of their wide receiver duo. It just goes to show that having a strong 1-2 punch at wide receiver can be a game-changer for any team. We'll also be discussing other notable pairings, such as Mike Evans and Chris Godwin in Tampa Bay, and the intriguing combination of Jackson Smith-Njigba and Cooper Kupp in Seattle. With so many talented receivers taking the field this season, it's shaping up to be a wild ride for football fans everywhere. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, folks. We've got plenty more sports news and analysis to share with you today. From the latest updates on player injuries to surprising trades and coaching changes, we'll be covering it all. So sit back, relax, and get ready to dive into the world of sports with me. We'll be right back with more fascinating sports news on Howard's Opinion. Welcome back to Howard's Opinion, folks. We're diving into the world of NFL drama, and today's story has all the makings of a soap opera. It seems like wide receiver Terry McLaurin and the Washington Commanders are at a contractual standoff, with no end in sight. Now let's break it down. McLaurin, a fan favorite and one of the team's top players, is reportedly seeking a deal similar to DK Metcalf's contract with the Steelers, which is valued at around $33 million per year. However, the Commanders are hesitant to meet those demands, citing McLaurin's age as a factor. The 30-year-old receiver has been holding out of training camp, and while he did report after 4 days, the situation remains unresolved. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler recently weighed in on the matter, suggesting that the relationship between McLaurin and the Commanders may be fractured. He even went so far as to say that McLaurin is willing to take drastic measures, including withholding services and missing games if a deal isn't reached. Now, I'm not sure I buy into all that drama, but it's clear that tensions are running high. The question on everyone's mind is, will the two sides be able to come to an agreement? McLaurin is beloved by the fans, coaches, and teammates alike, and it would be a shame to see him go. On the other hand, the Commanders can't just break the bank for one player, no matter how talented he may be. As we wait for this saga to unfold, one thing's for sure. The NFL is always full of surprises. And speaking of surprises, we've got another story that's sure to raise some eyebrows. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Howard's Opinion. Welcome back to Howard's Opinion. We're wrapping up today's show with a look at the Green Bay Packers and their chances in the NFC North this season. Now, I know what you're thinking. Can the Packers really take down the likes of the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings? Well, according to NFL expert Pete Prisco, the answer is yes. He's predicting that the Packers will come out on top in the division for the first time since 2021. And it's hard to argue with his logic. The Packers were the youngest team in the league last year, and many of those young players are now entering their second and third years, which means they've got experience under their belt. Plus, quarterback Jordan Love is healthy, which is a huge plus for the team. And let's not forget about rookie wide receiver Matthew Golden, who's been making waves in training camp, with his impressive speed and skills. What really sets the Packers apart from the rest of the division is that they don't have as many question marks as some of the other teams. The Lions lost both their coordinators, the Vikings are starting a rookie quarterback, and the Bears have a new coach and a lot of uncertainty surrounding their offense. Meanwhile, the Packers have a solid foundation in place, with a good mix of veteran leadership and young talent. Of course, there are still some concerns for the Packers, particularly when it comes to their pass rush and quarterback position. But overall, it seems like they've got the pieces in place to make a serious run at the division title. And if they can get off to a strong start, they might be able to put some distance between themselves and the rest of the pack. It's going to be an interesting season in the NFC North, that's for sure. But one thing's for certain, the Green Bay Packers are looking like a team on the rise. And with players like Matthew Golden and Jordan Love leading the charge, they might just be the team to beat in the division. That's all for today's Howard's Opinion. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, these are some of my humble thoughts.